Do you know about the legend of the Black Rooster? Well, if you don't, stay tuned to find out more in this episode of Tuesday Night Wines. Hi, welcome to Tuesday Night Wines. I'm John Leonard. I'm the host of the Honest Pour Wine podcast and an award-winning wine journalist. As you may or may not know, Tuesday Night Wines is about value-driven wines. They're wines that are under $20 a bottle. In tonight's case, we go up a couple bucks above that, but we still stay under $25 a bottle. They're wines that you don't have to age for years. They're not wines that are meant for a special occasion. They're wine you're going to bring home. You're going to pop the cork on. You might have a glass or two with dinner. If you don't finish it, you're going to stuff that cork back in it, set it on the counter, finish it up tomorrow night, and it's going to stay just as good as it was the night before. Now, the most important part about Tuesday Night Wines, though, is they're delicious. When you get in that value price range, there are a lot of bad wines out there. But with the right direction and a little bit of know-how, you can find delicious wines that are under $25 a bottle. Tonight's wine comes from Italy. It comes from the middle of Italy in Tuscany, and it comes from the middle of this Tuscany area in a region called Chianti Classico. Like most red wines from the region, Chianti Classicos are made from predominantly Sangiovese grapes. Now, for a long time, Chianti got a bad rap. It was that cheap Italian red that was poured out of a fiasco bottle. That's the bottle with the basket on the bottom at mom and pop Italian restaurants all across America. But recently, well, not so recently, within the past couple of decades, producers in the region got real serious and wanted to produce quality wines. And today, there's some gorgeous wines coming out of Chianti Classico. Now, how do you know a bottle of wine is Chianti Classico without even reading the label? Look for one little thing. There's a picture of a little black rooster somewhere on the bottle if it's from Chianti Classico. The reason they use this black rooster as their logo for Chianti Classico is that centuries ago, the people from Florence and the people from Siena were always at war with one another. And they decided, rather than going to war over this beautiful land where this amazing wine was being grown and destroying so much of it through the process of warfare, what they would do is they would have a race. And the way the race was going to work is that on a specific morning, when the cock crowed, each town would send a rider on a horse along the road. And wherever these two horses met along the road, that's where they were going to draw the border. Now, the people from Florence were crafty. They kept this old, mean black rooster, and they made sure it was sleep deprived, and they kept it hungry. They starved it for a few days. They covered it up. They kept it from light. And the people in Siena had a happy, well-fed, normal rooster. On the morning of the race, the mean old black rooster was so cranky, he got up and he crowed hours before dawn. So the rider departed. Come dawn, hours later, the cock crowed in Siena, and their rider set out. Well, the rider from Florence was able to make up so much distance on that road, it was within 10 kilometers of Siena where they finally met, and that's where they drew the border. And because of that black rooster, because of the crafty Florentines, that became the logo of the wines from Chianti Classico. It's still used today. Now, before we get on to today's wine, if you like my wine content and want to support me, please be sure to click the subscribe and like button below. It's a little act for you, and it means a whole lot to me. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers, so please go ahead and click that subscribe button. All right, so on to the wine. So we already know a little bit about tonight's wine. It's Sangiovese, it's Chianti Classico, and it's from the 2019 vintage. I'll go ahead and tell you that. Let's go ahead and give it a little sniff. Well, it starts out with a lot of red fruit. There's black cherry, a little bit of currant, and there's a lot of earthiness to this wine. There's a nice spiciness to it, some kind of sweet spices, and a distinct earthiness. Give it a taste. Wow, just a beautiful, beautiful red cherries, a little bit of red plum, Fine, distinct tannins. You can feel it on the front of my teeth. Beautiful acidity balancing that all out. This wine's beautifully structured, really well put together. And like all Italian wines, this wine is really meant to be had with food. Traditional in the region, in Chianti Classico, obviously steak, wild boar, maybe pappardelle with a wild boar ragu. This would be wonderful with that. Or in America, we eat a lot of spaghetti with red sauce on it. This would be a beautiful, beautiful wine for spaghetti and red sauce. Pizza. Wonderful with pizza. So what is the wine? The wine is 2019 Chianti Classico from Volpaia. I toured around in Chianti Classico a couple of years ago, and Volpaia stole my heart. It's this beautiful little hamlet at the top of a hill in Rada, right in the middle of the Chianti Classico region. And it might only have 15 or 18 buildings in the whole hamlet. And there's only a handful of people that live there. The winery's actually been built into a lot of these ancient buildings, and in order to do that, in order to get these big pieces of equipment in many cases, they had to lift the roof off of the building, drop in the equipment, and then rebuild the roof. And they've connected these buildings underground with an ingenious system of pipes and pumps, and it's all very well hidden, and you wouldn't even know that there's a winery going on in this village. And after touring and tasting at Volpaia, I was just enchanted with it and the people there. The mother, Giovanella, and her daughter, Federica, who runs the business now, they couldn't have been more charming. I really feel like they're more than friends. They're actually my Italian family. If you ever get to Chianti Classico, you absolutely must visit Volpaia. Now, this wine should be fairly easy to find. It's not going to be the easiest wine to find, but it will be available at larger wine retailers like Total Wine or Binny's. Pretty easy to find. It is a little bit more expensive than the $20 a bottle I like to keep these wines to, but those extra couple of $3 or $4 are really worth it. You're going to love this wine. Now, if you want to learn more about Volpaia, I'm going to paste the link below to my podcast, The Honest Pour, and the episode where I interview Federica Mascaroni-Stianti. And you can learn all about Volpaia. It's a great episode, a great interview. I highly recommend you listen to it. Finally, please remember to click that subscribe and like button below. And if there's any Chianti Classicos that you like, list them in the comments section below. Thanks for joining us on Tuesday Night Wines, and we'll see you next week.